I gotta get the mic up. Hey. If you're watching this after the fact, of course, you can go over here to 00:00, and guess what? You'll be right on top of the story. Tonight's story is part 2 of Behind Blue Eyes. A little extra noise in here today because I'm trying to get the room cool. We've got up to like 70, typical San Diego business going on. And it's very hot in this office, and we're only just beginning with the summer and all of that happy business. So waiting for people to show up. Again, if you're watching after the fact, go to 00:00. See when we start getting people dialed in. It looks like we're finally alive on the YouTube. We are alive on the Facebook. We are alive on the Twitch. Here's John Bivens. Hey, John, how you doing? Cheers, bud. Dr. Campbell, hello. Only one scotch for me tonight, so get it out of the way early. It's been a hell of a day. You guys ever get pissed off at your job? Ever? Like you're at work and you're like, gosh, this job just grinds my gears. I gotta take off my socks. That's how hot it is. Hi, Dawn. It's very warm. Let's get these socks off. There we go. I also put on the hot sweatpants. Chris Grawl says Facebook isn't working for him. Let's see. It's working for some people. We got 3 people. Looks like we got 3 people in on Facebook. Mr. Moore, how you doing? Once again, if you're coming in after the fact and you don't want the chit chat, fast forward to 00:00 and you will go right to the story. Today's story is part 2 of Behind Blue Eyes. Richard Bennett, how you doing? Dr. Danny Baker, PhD. Cheers to all of y'all. Yes, Chris, I'm still working on Warpath. I got yet another editor involved now. My third editor for the manuscript, 5th editor if you count the outline process. So, hey Nick, I'm just a happy worker today. I'll tell you that. Kyle, how you doing? All right, let's get talking about what we got coming up tonight. Of course, if you are on the YouTube, click like, ring that bell, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. Tonight's live read is mixtape track 13. Hey, Cobalt. Mixtape track 13, Behind Blue Eyes, part 2. And on tonight's Deep Cuts, we're talking about backstory. We're talking about backstory, man. How much stuff, I had a phrase for this. How much work do authors put in on the stuff that happens before the story takes place? Stuff that you might never see in the story, but it has to be there for the story to make sense. The glorious Ariel girl herself in the chat room, D79, is here. There's never going to be a Warpath 2, you guys. There's no amount of money that could be put in a Brinks truck and rolled up to my garage door to be shoveled out by me while I wear a monocle and a cigarette on a big old long plastic filter and go, nya, as I shovel money. There's no amount of money that is going to make me ever do any of this with any of these people ever again. It's not going to work out. I have so much other stuff I need to write for you guys. It's like, A has to listen to me grouse about this a lot, but just the way that it worked out, the amount of money I have lost by trying to do the best I can on this project when the bosses keep changing A and I tried to figure it out, and it's got to be 6 figures at least with the amount of books I could have got done that could have been selling out there in the marketplace. Hey, Kim, it's just, and today was particularly frustrating because once you've spent 5 years on a project and someone comes in after the final draft is already done and vetted, and that's the second final draft that's done and vetted, and they start making story changes. You just, I'll tell you what, it makes a brother frustrated is what it does. Let's get into our pre-story goodness because we only got about 4 minutes left to go here. Go to main. Of course, go through our advertisers who are still great for us. And that's why we keep the live stream going at this point. And you guys and the advertisers are going good. GoDaddy.com. If you're going to get a website or someone's going to get a website or needs a website, share the code CJCFOSSIG3. You also can find that by going to scottsigler.com/GoDaddy. It's very easy. 99% off the first year of a 3-year domain registration. We are still hosted on GoDaddy and been on GoDaddy for coming up over 20 years now, I think. I've been on GoDaddy since well before I was published. Might be 20. Are they 25 years old? Might be. Quince.com. Great clothes, low prices, fancy stuff. They're big on the phrase wardrobe. Wardrobe is not a phrase I've ever used in my life. I got a suit, I've got a sweater, and then a bunch of t-shirts, but gradually building up a wardrobe with Quince. And it's the prices are just phenomenal. It's great. Go check it out. And of course, if you go to quince.com/Sigler, that's 365-day returns, which means you get a year to make sure it's what you want, and you get free shipping because your bro hooks you up. And if you got a small business, medium business, any business, and you ship things, you got to use stamps.com. And when you go there, check out code Sigler100. You will save a bunch. I assure you, it is a hell of a deal. Hey, let's see. We got Edward, Rocco. Got everybody in. Yeah, Dan, returning. At this point, returning the check is just, we're very, very close to the point where I just want them to take my name off it. You know, I'm going to be like, you guys do whatever you're going to do with it and just take my name off the book and go crazy. So we'll see how this last round goes. It's one of those esoteric, unmeasurable things because I might be done tomorrow. I might not be done for 2 weeks. It's when you make changes to something that's so well constructed and architecturally solid, and then you come in and pull out an I-beam and say, we'd really like, you know what, we want a bidet here instead of the freight elevator. You're like, okay, now I've got to check all the places bidets go and make sure the roof doesn't collapse. Are we going to cut through a support beam? We're probably going to cut through a support beam. It's a bunch of shit like that. And also an advertiser, I don't have a graphic for this yet, but if you like my podcast without commercials, you can get them all at scottsigler.supportingcast.fm. And we got to get a graphic up that. We might even have one. I'm so fried right now. And for $5 a month, you can be signed up, get all my podcasts for free and not get, no, you get all my podcasts ad free, not for free if you're paying $5. But cheaper than the price of a cup of coffee, basically. Isn't it crazy? That's what coffee costs now. I'm not going to say cheaper price of a beer because Bud Lights are still like 12 cents. Okay, let's do a quick, that is, we got 1 minute left to go. Everything's ready to roll today. I practiced my voices and everything. Not a lot, but I did practice my voices. Let's make sure we got everything cooking. Am I getting signal? Getting signal. That is correct, Chris. They are not respecting the work of Darth Sigluricus. It's not that they're not respecting the work. It's just they didn't really do a good job of defining how the process works before I sign on the dotted line. I thought I had one editor and then another guy with the outline, which was in itself, there were 5 humongous outlines that were done for this. Finally got an outline nailed down, worked very closely with the editor, who's a good guy, for one part of the business. Then it goes to their partner, and their partner brings in an editor, and she's also pretty good, but she changes a lot of stuff I had worked on for years with the other guy. Get through all of that. It's great. I think we're ready to go. And then a third person comes in, and the third person's like, I don't like this. I don't like this. And I'm just like, at this point, it's hard for me to imagine working with Hollywood ever, ever, ever again. Cobalt listening but can't chat driving. I like it. Let's get back to our business here. But that's enough kvetching for me tonight. We're going to get into review counts for Void Strike and the Crypt after we do our read. Yes, I will remember to take off my mixtape. Boom, take off my headphones. Let's get ready to party. And A's had to deal with my grumpiness all day. So when A gets up here, you all be very, very nice to A. All right, party time. Excellent. Let's go. We do have a fan going in the other room to our split, which I don't know how it works. A knows how it works. But that is the only cooling we're going to get in here. And it's sizzling. And I am not going to podcast without my pants on. No matter how many times I've promised it, no matter how much you want it. And I know you want it. I'm not going to read with my pants off. Sorry. I got standards. Ethics, things of that nature. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's get a recording going. Check. Got it. Hit that Schwarmy. Gotta do that again because I had these speakers on. And let's go. Previously on Behind Blue Eyes. Lord Hilentra's frontier garrison at Stonehold had already earned its reputation. Under orders to force the Tandrites, the miners who live in the shadow of jagged spine mountains, ancient beyond and past the frontier. That's a screwed up sentence. Sorry, I goofed that up. Under orders to force the Tandrites, the miners who live in the shadow of jagged spine mountains beyond the frontier, to bend the knee, Hilentra's soldiers marched, burned, and butchered. Devokar Backstep Hessel stood amongst those soldiers, a plains-born conscript who had fled the battle at Kisentine and again at Granite Town, where he was ordered to kill a mother and her children. For those errors, he was flogged and marked as a coward. But it seems the peaceful Tandrites would not just roll over and die. A dark figure known as the Stonehewer has fought back, attacking Canyon Crest, one of Hilentra's new settlements, slaughtering most of its population. The Stonehewer has, somehow, gathered day diggers, the dominant nocturnal hunters of the mountains, and uses them as terrifying beasts of war. As rumors spread that Stonehold was next, its civilian occupants wanted out. Warden Bismarten would not let them leave for fear the day diggers that stalk the night, hunting in the forest surrounding the walls, their glowing blue eyes promising death, would bring them down. His caution seemed fortuitous, as the night filled with the howl cries of the beasts emanating from the trees. The Stonehewer attacked, climbing over the wall and opening the gate. Dozens of day diggers rushed in, attacking soldiers and civilians alike. Now, in part 2, we begin to learn who the Stonehewer is and how he came across his terrible powers. They sit in the center of town, around the unlit fire pit. There's no need for a fire at midday. Only Salyavant sits across from the three men. The rest of the town cowers at the clearing's circular edge. Men, women, and children, all watching, all hoping. Shaggy dogs weave in and out of the people. Some run across the clearing. Some belong to townsfolk. Some are mostly wild, coming to town only to beg for food. All are smart enough to not bark. Not now. Not when things are so serious. Salyavant wants to get away from these three men, these three witches, but he cannot give in to that urge no matter how terrifying they are. He asked them to come. If Granite Town is to survive, he must treat with them, for only witches can stand up to the wave of foreign soldiers that may soon crash down upon Granite Town. "We need your protection," he says. From just looking at them, one would not think witches could protect anything. Three men, naked and unabashed about it, showing no shame at exposing their entire bodies. Skin covered with dark tattoos of crude runes and ancient symbols. Very little of their original flesh remains untouched. Even their lips, their eyelids, and their manhoods are tattooed. Bone piercings stud their ears, faces, and chests. They are eating the chicken that Salyavant's wife prepared for them. All know the truth. When you meet witches, if you don't feed them, you might wind up being the meal. Salyavant wonders if some of their piercings are carved splinters of human bone. Each of the witches, in one place or another on their body, has creeper tendrils growing from their skin, the thin, curling green vines sprouting from seeds embedded beneath. Varuk has 3 of those on his face, one on his right cheek, one on his left eyelid, and one stitching through the blurry, faded tattoos on his forehead. Supposedly the creepers are a bit of magic that ties the witches to the forest and to the scrub brush that grows higher up the mountain slopes, where trees are meager stunted little things, if they grow at all. Salyvan is frightened of these men, but their kind has protected the foothills for generations. Their magic is strong. If anyone can stop the soldiers, it's them. Chicken grease is all over their tattooed faces and tattooed hands. Their nails are black with dirt and maybe dried blood. Or awful, which is a very real possibility considering how they smell. The one in the center, the shortest one, is Varuk. He seems to be in charge. He licks his fingertips. He is missing many teeth, but still has enough left to chew the chicken. Ground bird, good, Varuk says. Of course it's good. Janara is an excellent cook. She prepared 6 chickens for this. 3 are gone, reduced to bones. 3 remain on a wooden platter resting on the dirt in front of the witches. Janara is off to the side with the other townfolk. She stands with their son, Malleus, and their little daughter, Deshant. Salyvan can tell by the wide-eyed look of fear in his children's eyes that they will be on their best behavior for weeks to come. The ongoing threat of, "Be good or the witches will come for you," has far more meaning now that they know what one looks like. The 3 witches say nothing. They keep eating, gobbling up every last scrap of fat and gristle until the clean bones gleam like their hands and mouths. "We need your protection," Salyvan says again, annoyed that they did not answer the first time. "Lord Hilentra's soldiers sacked Kisentine. We fear they're coming for Granite Town next." Kisentine was 50 miles from Stonehold, Hilentra's new town that seemingly popped up out of nowhere, protected by a wall made from the same granite that Salyvan and the others worked out of the ground every day of their lives. Granite Town, at 90 miles away, was the next closest mining town. Varuk reaches to the platter and grabs another roasted chicken. Not a leg or a wing, but the whole bird. "They sent emissaries to you," Varuk says. "They asked you to bend the knee. You said no. Why?" He bites into the bird flesh and tears a large chunk free. "Yes, why?" Darstad, the one on Varuk's left, grabs a chicken leg from the platter, twisting it free. Darstad's voice is so strange, so hollow, like the rasp of the wind through the reeds that grow along the mountain streams. Perhaps the gnarled, tattoo-covered scar on the side of his throat has something to do with it. It has the look of a wound that would kill most men. Yet here he is, living and breathing, eating and talking. "That is the question," says the third, Thornwick, the largest of the trio. "Why did you say no?" Thornwick's voice is light and musical. His bites are almost dainty. He is the oldest, although it's hard to guess any of their ages. He is the fattest in the belly and the skinniest in the arms and the legs. The body of a man who spends his time eating, not working. His skin, which is just as inked as the others, sags and dangles, flopping and flapping whenever he moves. Salyvan thinks for a moment before answering. "We are free people," he says. "We do not need to bend the knee before him with Hilentra's father or his grandfather. And we saw what happened at Cliff's Edge to the north. They bent the knee. Now they are slaves." Slaves, mining the same granite their families had culled from the foothills for generations. But now, instead of trading it, the fruits of their dangerous labor go straight to Hilentra's towns and cities. No compensation other than that they get to live. "We know this," Darstad says. "Their tribute has stopped. Something must be done." Cliff's Edge and Kisentine had sent food to the witches just as Granite Town still did. Everyone in the foothills paid tribute and had done so for longer than anyone could remember. "We want you to do something," Salyvant says. "Are you not witches of the Rock Drake? Can your magic not stop Hilentra's men?" Varuk puts an entire chicken leg into his mouth and closes his lips around it. He pulls the stripped bone free. The left side of his cheek bulges out from the meat. "The Rock Drake does not answer our calls," he says as he chews. Salyvant is disappointed to hear that, but he's not surprised. Few gods answer anymore, so it is said throughout the land. "What magic we have is not enough to stop the men with steel," Varuk says. "We can stop them, but to do so, we need a sacrifice. A sacrifice that will become a weapon against them." Varuk points the chicken bone to his left. "That one will do nicely." He is pointing at Malleus, Salyvant's 10-year-old son. "No," Salyvant says quickly, sharply. Varuk chews as he looks around. "We must have someone." His gaze settles on Salyvant again. "Perhaps you?" Salyvant had feared this might happen, yet it angers him anyway. He holds his temper in check. His father had taught him to think before reacting, to ask questions and listen before making any decision. "Perhaps," he says. "What does this sacrifice entail?" "Probably going into a cooking pot, which he will not volunteer for or allow anyone in Granite Town to do so." "The weapon must become one with the stone and with the day-diggers who live in it," Thornwick says. "Only then can the men with steel be turned away." The men with steel are worse than the diggers, but perhaps not by much. Everyone in town has a grandfather, father, uncle, brother, cousin, or even son who was killed by diggers. When you tunnel underground in these parts, eventually you disturb a sleeping digger. Most times, other miners rally to help, but sometimes they're not fast enough. "No one in Granite Town will become one with a digger," Salyvant says. "There must be another way." Varuk glances at Darstad, who nods. Darstad glances at Thornwick, who nods. Thornwick glances at Varuk, who nods. Varuk looks at Salyvant. "Then you must abandon Granite Town." "Then you must abandon Granite Town," the witch says. "You and your people may come into the mountains and live closer to us, under our watch." He rips off a wing and puts it all in his mouth, his teeth and tongue working the meat from the bones. Abandon Granite Town. Abandon their home. They would become refugees, like the few survivors of Kisentine, who even now hid in huts, afraid that the witches might strike them down. But there was another option. "We will fight," Salyvant says. "We will protect our homes and families. We will defend our ways." He quickly looks around the edge of the clearing. He sees men nodding, determined looks on their faces. Some women nod as well, while others look aghast that the witches have not done as they were asked to do. Just beyond the townsfolk is the first circle of huts, all crafted from the orange granite that fills the foothills and the mountains. The huts are circular, with a peaked roof, an iron stovepipe sticking out the top. There is a second circle of huts around the first and part of a third around the second. It will take time for the miners to learn how to fight. Every man in town can wield a maul and iron spikes. Every man in town can sling stones with lethal accuracy and velocity. For when a day digger comes for you, you only have seconds to take it down from a distance. Some men are proficient with the bows they use to hunt game. The people of Granite Town know how to fight off animals, bandits, and raiders, but they don't know how to fight an army. Not yet. Thornwick stands suddenly. "We leave now," he says, and sprints from the fire pit and through the ring of people who lunge to get out of his way. Varuk and Darstad stand as well. "May the Drick's flames cleanse you of your sins," Varuk says. He grabs a full chicken off the platter. That one is in his right hand, the half-eaten one in his left. He rushes after Thornwick, Darstad close behind. The witches are heading for the mountains. The sound of an iron bell rings from the southern watchtower. "Men with steel!" the lookout screams. "Bismarten leads them! They are coming!" Salyavant's heart sinks. They have run out of time. He did not think Hilentra's men would strike this soon. No one did. There is only one thing left to do. "Men of Granite Town, get your mauls," Salyavant cries. "We must face Hilentra's troops, and we must crush them." Salyavant crawls across the ground. He must reach his wife and children. He has never known such pain. Blood leaks from the stab wound in his belly. Blood drains away from his shoulder where a broken crossbow bolt juts out. The air smells of smoke. The screams of men, women, and children. The barks and growls and yelps of dogs. Soldiers laughing and cursing. Hilentra's men came in fast, led by one who wore a crimson cloak. Warden Bismarten. The refugees from Kisentine had warned of him, said he was a brutal leader. Salyavant and his fellow townsmen learned quickly that slings, mauls, iron spikes, and bronze blades were no match for steel. Arrows and crossbow bolts came in first, from a range far greater than slings could reach. The salvo of enemy shafts killed some townsmen, wounded others, and set several men to flight. Spearmen came in next, moving fast. Salyavant had roared to the men of Granite Town to hold their line, when what they should have done was rushed back to town, grabbed their families, and headed for the mountains. They should have gone to the witches. But they fought. His fellow miners fought. Hilentra's men seemed almost as afraid as they were. There was nothing special about those soldiers, nothing that stirred heroic visions to be captured in song. But there were 50 of them, and they moved in unison. Salyavant remembers the moment where he could have run, yet he hesitated. And then it was too late. Hilentra's soldiers were on them. He dodged the first spear thrust, a clumsy attack that was more a defensive strike than one meant to kill, then smashed the soldier's skull in with his maul. Shockingly easy to kill a man. A heavy maul meant to punch iron into granite found little resistance, flattening the top of the soldier's helmet and crushing the skull beneath. A spear thrust from a second soldier grazed Salyavant's thigh. It had hurt at the time, but now the wound was forgotten, that pain drowned out by the agony rippling through his belly. He knocked that spearman down, probably shattering his shoulder when the maul crashed into his arm. Iron vine mail can stop a blade, but it's useless against the impact of a heavy, blunt object. In that brief moment, Salyavant foolishly thought they could win. Then the crossbow bolt hit him. He dropped his maul. Then a third spearman drove the long blade into Salyavant's belly. Blankness after that. A sea of pain and confusion. He'd come to, already crawling for home. Salyavant crawls across the ground. His house is just ahead. The house his father built, cutting each stone with meticulous craftsmanship, placing each in an exacting order. Salyavant hopes, he prays, that Janara ran to the higher hills with Malleus and Tashant. He fears she did not, though, because she's not supposed to. All the women and children in Granite Town know that when an attack comes, be it day digger, clawed sloth, or man, to seal up inside their strong stone huts. Salyavant crawls. He is close now. The soldiers are no longer in a line. They run pell-mell across the town, chasing townfolk and cutting people down. The scarlet-cloaked man screams at them to come to order, but not all of them listen. They have lit the fire pit. Some soldiers are throwing bodies into the flames, dogs and people both. Most unmoving, but not all. There is no scream like that of a woman burning to death. The stench of sizzling flesh drives deep into Salyavant's soul. His friends, his neighbors. Anguish fills his heart, but so does hatred. The people of Granite Town were no threat to Hilentra, no threat to anyone. Bodies everywhere. People bowed in defeat, tied together with leather strands. Granite Town is no more. Salyavant crawls. Each inch he moves grows more and more difficult. The house to his hut is open. He can hear his wife crying, hear her pleading. Salyavant tries to crawl faster. He cannot. He feels cold and weak. He can barely draw a breath, and each one he does draw is a fresh blade driving through his guts. Janara stumbles through the open door and falls to the ground. There is blood on her dress. Blood and tears sheen her face. She starts to rise, trying to rush back into the hut, but stops when Malleus and Tashant rush out. Hold on, my dog is at the door. Babe, can you call the dogs? Yeah, girl, come here. Go. That's a we'll do it live for you right there. Okay, well, let me go back. Crack me up. She starts to rise, trying to rush back into the house, but stops when Malleus and Tashant rush out. Janara pulls them in, holds them protectively, as if her arms were shields. Salyavant again tries to crawl. His arms and legs will not obey. He is dying. He doesn't have long. Two soldiers exit his house, one carrying a spear, the other a sword streaked with blood. Janara's blood or someone else's? Salyavant tries to draw a breath, to scream for his family to run, but he can't even do that. He feels his life slipping away. The soldier steps forward, rears back the spear to thrust. Salyavant's last dying breaths fill him with fury and hate. Hold! A man cries out. The soldier stops and stands straight. He looks to the man who shouted. It's Warden Bismarten. The gold beads on his three-pointed beard bouncing with each step and his scarlet cloak fluttering behind him as he strides forward, shoving a spearman in front of him. That man looks confused and near panic. "Devokar, those are yours," Bismarten says as he pushes the man towards Salyvant's family. "Kill them or face the lash. Do it now." Salyvant wants to cry out, to plead, to beg, but his breaths have stopped altogether. He can't move. He can still smell, though. Smell the burning bodies and the burning fur, and he can still hear his wife and children crying. The confused soldier, Devokar, steadies himself. He spreads his feet, bends at his knees, and points the spear at Janara and the children. His face hardens for a moment. His eyes narrow, and he backs away, spear still pointed at them. The sword-wielding soldier laughs. "Backstep is at it again," he says. "Worthless pile of shite." "Coward," the other soldier says. "They can't hurt you, Backstep. Just kill them." Devokar stops, but he doesn't come forward. He just stares at Janara and the children. "You worthless man," Warden Bismarten says, spitting out the words. "Since you can't do as you are ordered, go to the fire pit. Remove your mail and gambeson. I will apply the punishment myself. We will make a soldier of you yet." Devokar turns and rushes toward the center of town, toward the plumes of black smoke rising up to stain the sky. Salyvant's heart flutters with hope that his family will be spared. Bismarten dashes that hope like a maul to the head. "Kill them," he says to the two soldiers. Then he strides after Devokar, loosening a whip that is strapped to his belt. Janara screams. Salyvant can do nothing as sword and steer. Salyvant can do nothing as sword and spear stab and slice. He watches his family die. He watches the soldiers drag their bodies away to be thrown onto the fire. Salyvant closes his eyes. Heartbreak and cold swallow him up. He waits for death to end his pain. This one still lives. Salyvant hears the voice as if it's coming from the mouth of a tunnel, and he is deep in the shaft, where the orange granite is the thickest. It's a strange voice, like the sound river reeds make when the wind blows through them. "Not by much," says another voice, this one dancing with light tones. "If at all. Are you certain? He certainly looks dead." Salyvant knows these voices, but he can't place them. "He is alive," says a third voice. "Look at that flick of dried snot on his left nostril. It's fluttering with his breath." That one Salyvant recognizes. Varuk, the witch. The witch who would not protect Granite Town. Memories charge their way back into Salyvant's thoughts. Memories of the soldiers, of the fight, of the blade piercing his belly, of the burning bodies. And of his family. Janara, his wife. His son, Malleus. His daughter, Tashant. They're gone. Butchered. Their bodies dragged away to be tossed onto the fire, to burn with the other townsfolk and the dogs. "Wake up," the whispering reeds say. "Wake up now, Salyvant. We have matters to discuss." Salyvant feels hands on his body, rolling him to his back. His eyes flutter open. It's night. Stars flicker in the sky. As I told you, the whispering reeds say, he still lives. Not by much, the musical voice says. Above, 3 faces come into view, almost as dark as the night sky. Bone piercings, bits of creeper on one of their faces. Varuk, Thornwick, and Darstad. Varuk is eating something. Burned meat. He holds it in one hand, his broken teeth chewing away. The flesh beneath the char looks white. Leave me, Salyvant says, the whispered word surprising him. Let me die. He would have said more if he had had the breath. His life is gone. Nothing left to work for, to fight for, or die for. So short-sighted you are, Varuk says. The witch puts his dirty hand on Salyvant's chest. Yes, so short-sighted. You think you have lost everything, Salyvant, but I can sense you have one thing left. I can feel it, coursing through your flesh, pumping in your heart. Hatred. Do you hate, Salyvant? The realization is like fresh air filling his lungs. Varuk is right. Hatred. That yet remains. All you love is gone, the witch says. We cannot bring them back, but we can offer you something else, something enticing. Varuk takes a bite of his hunk of meat. Salyvant quietly prays it's dog meat. Vengeance, Varuk says as he chews. Grease dribbling down his tattooed shin and along a bone piercing. Lord Hilentra did this to you. He will do it again to others. He will keep doing it unless he is stopped. We still need a sacrifice. We need a weapon. You know our offer, Salyvant. You should have taken it earlier. Tears well up in Salyvant's eyes because he knows that this is true. If he had volunteered to be the sacrifice, to become the weapon, would his wife and children still be alive? Vengeance, Varuk says again. The witch smiles. Will you be our sacrifice, Salyvant? You should decide quickly, while you are still alive. Salyvant can feel what little life inside him slipping away. He is still alive, yes, but not by much. He opens his mouth to speak, but no words come out. His belly is a boiling stew of agony. He can't breathe. Salyvant locks eyes with Varuk. Then he nods. Wonderful, the witch says. Wonderful! Thorwick, Darstad, prepare him. There is no time to take him into the mountains. We will forge our weapon in that building right there. Varuk takes another bite of the white meat. Grease drips onto Salyvant's chest as 2 witches drag him into his own empty home. Got a little throat tickle going on in that one, y'all. Baby girl, come on up, and I'd appreciate another scotch if you don't mind. Oh, did something back, you guys, while sleeping, as one does. And then a little bit of moving stuff around after that, but pardon my sip. All right, let's go chat, see what people think. Yeah, a lot of sausage. Dogs are scratching at the damn door for crying out loud. And I don't know if you guys can hear that, if I ignore them, if they get a little more fired up. So we just went ahead and did our thing. As Cobalt in the chat room mentions, click that bell, ring that bell. No, slap that like button, ring that bell, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hi, John Chestnut. I just came in and I'm confused. Is this a new story or book for print or podcast? I thought it was a D&D campaign at first. This is Mixtape. Mixtape is stories inspired by songs and music. This story is called Behind Blue Eyes. It is part 2, I think of 3, maybe 4. I don't know. It's already girthifying itself. And this one is inspired by the Who song from 1972 called Behind Blue Eyes. You know, oops. You know that one? No one knows what it's like to be the bad man. That song, that whole story is inspired by this. Recluse Mage says in chat room, yes, it's girthy. This one's going to get girthy because I know what happens in the next episode, and I don't know if that'll be one episode or more. Robert White, I'm doing bourbon E.H. Taylor. Fabulous. I don't know what kind of scotch my beloved is going to bring me, but I got to be a nice day because I was grumpy today. So grumpy from that goddamn story, Warpath. Daniel Baker's having exactly the same sip of scotch. Hey, Pumpkin.
Hi.
Thanks. Cheers. You all right?
I am. Are you warm?
Yeah, still. Just go ahead and open it up. Cobalt says, woohoo, the growth in their body is an interesting idea. Their connection to the natural world is impressive. This is a fantasy horror story, but there's a lot of tropes in fantasy. You know, the tattooed people from the hills who have the old power, the old magic that has been forgotten in the land of men, that kind of stuff. So trying to find something cool to do something a little bit different with them it's always an important thing for me to try and give, you know, some fresh angle on it, something that makes the characters pop in your head. Now, after when A gets in here, we're going to stop the whole stream. So everybody's listening, listen up, watching, listen up. We have to stop the stream, change the content over, and restart the stream. So if you are watching and this is your first time, you're going to get the same channel is going to pop up. That could be Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. It's going to pop right back up again. So Aberlour's fantastic scotch. Babe, what am I drinking here?
Storm.
Talisker Storm. A's been hunting for it forever, and we found it. Oh, gosh. Back hurts and nut out of place. All kinds of troubles today. All right, let's switch over to A here. See how our lighting goes. Thanks, Pumpkin. I'll take that. All right, if you're new here, between the story and the deep cuts, what we do is housekeeping. Housekeeping. We do, what you need, Pumpkin? Oh, fuck, headphones. Sorry, babe, I forgot about those. Take your time. So we're going to do housekeeping right now. Housekeeping is just telling you what's going on in the world of Siglerism. Sunday, February 22nd, mixtape track 12, Behind Blue Eyes Part 1 hit the podcast feed. So those of you who were asking about the story, you can go over and listen to the episode 1 of Behind Blue Eyes. Or, of course, you can go to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and you can watch the live recast. I kind of, let's make you muted. Hello, a real girl herself.
Hi, guys.
Does that sound okay to you?
It does to me.
Okay, good. Now you should be able to get it set up where you don't have to lean to it. I'm trying to get you comfortable. We have one gummy back in this house is enough, plenty.
Okay.
In this house is enough, plenty. Yeah, that's a word. So going back to housekeeping, but if you watch the video replay, you see all of the snaps are what tells the editor to cut that take and go with the next take. And you get all the flubs like dogs scratching at the doors, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of fun. But if you just want to listen to the story straight through, you want to go to the podcast. If you're not listening to the podcast, go to scottsigler.com/subscribe and sign up, and you get everything that you need. Tuesday, February 24th, Deep Cuts, episode 86. How authors choose locations went live in the feed. A interviewed me for that one last week. It went very well. People seem to enjoy it. I learned things as well.
What did you learn?
I learned that I know more about how I choose locations than I thought. I kind of thought I just sort of, I pick places by wing it, but that of course is completely not accurate. We put a ton of time into picking all of our locations
And
for all
every
the
one
damn
of
stories.
us, every one of us, every one of you out there who read Nocturnal in real time or listened to the podcast as he was podcasting Nocturnal in real time, know he was literally going out at midnight on his motorcycle to see what it looked like at the Pinehurst Diner. Like, we know you were driving by that bullshit. You were doing it in real time.
Yes. Yes.
So that's such an interesting thing to me, because then I wonder about that with a lot of my other favorite books and stuff, which I also think probably, especially some of my romance novelists, they're definitely eating at all those restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we talked about last week. We won't talk about too much now, but authors can get lost in it and start to get down to such granular detail that they lose sight of the fact that 99% of the people who read the book, it might as well be a made-up location. They're never going to go to those spots. And we'll talk about that a little bit as we get into backstory, because it's the same problem.
This is really going to come up because it's a 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Yes, sometimes you get in too much into your head.
Yep.
But sometimes you getting that much into your head is the reason that I love that story. And I remember that story. And I got to go, as I've mentioned 1,000 times on Deep Cuts, to the Pinehurst Diner and have chocolate chip pancakes, right?
Oh my
because
God.
That's a real thing.
I want chocolate chip pancakes. I'll make chocolate chip pancakes for you.
Okay.
They're very good. Okay. Chocolate chip pancakes, by the way, I learned I like those because when I was a kid, how do I reach these kids? When I was a kid, I was a very, very, very extraordinarily fussy, picky eater. As you can tell by my giant manly dimensions, I was not feeding.
I was less so.
I was not feeding the engine of growth. And there were times I would go, a couple days without just picking at stuff. So Mom, finally, my Uncle Dan he was a doctor at University of Michigan.
And was a pediatrician.
Right? So he said, you know what, make him pancakes, put chocolate chips in it. Trust me, it'll be fine. So Mom did that. And then she started to make chocolate chip smiley faces in my pancakes. So I would eat pancakes with chocolate and maple syrup. And by gosh, what a shocker that Scott would eat all of this. Goblet right up. Goblet right up.
I actually, of course, I have no children, but I have a friend who, when his child was young, he was then and is still now a radiologist. So a full-on physician. And his wife, his sister, his aunt, his sister's friend, who was the auntie/godmother, was like, this baby isn't eating. This baby isn't eating. And he was like, you know what? He'll eat when he's hungry. And you know what he did? He ate when he was hungry. That mofo ate cantaloupe and blueberries for 6 months straight.
Mm-hmm.
But now he is a
strapping young lad.
Yeah, a full-on sophomore in college, and he definitely survived.
I think
that was okay.
I think this lighting turned out pretty good. It's still just a smidge too bright. So we got new lights, and you can adjust the lights. These are from a company called Elgato. They specialize in streaming hardware and stuff. But then if you adjust the lights, there's another Elgato software that controls the whole image. So when you adjust the lights, it autocorrects.
Yeah.
So it's just this. So we were just like, screw it. We're not getting to this right now. That's about it. Let's go back to housekeeping. Hold on.
Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD. You are my favorite.
Okay, let me finish the housekeeping, and then we're going to get... What happened to housekeeping? I lost housekeeping.
You can do it from here if you want.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Why don't you finish it for us?
All right, I will. Housekeeping. What's coming up next? I'm not sure where you left off, but...
I left off at how authors choose location.
All right. Tonight on Deep Cuts, we are talking about backstory and how much backstory one needs for a novel. This idea was sent in by junkie Stephen Furman. So thank you, Stephen Furman, for this idea. We are always looking about fun stuff to talk about. Last week, we talked about how, what was it last week?
It was choosing
how
location.
You choose your locations, and you guys loved it. And this prompted Stephen to kind of write in and say, hey, listen, that went really well. I would also love to know about these things. These are the kind of things we would love to know if you would love to know if we talk about, because the crazy thing is sometimes I will be making just eggs for breakfast and he'll be like, give me 6 words for pencil, but don't say pencil. But I don't know how to make that into a deep cuts. So if there's any quirky ideas or questions that you have about your favorite novelist, please let us know.
Email it to info@emptyset.com. Okay, and then, of course, Saturday, March 7th, the Junkie Party is on. Steve the Iceberg Ricky Berg hosts a marathon 7-hour Zoom chat where people from all over the world pop in, have a couple of drinks, talk about what's going on. Occasionally is there, but you see enough of this ugly mug. I don't need to be there. But that's coming up March 7th, 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern. And you can go to bit.ly/junkies, plural, party. Get your groove on. I got gas. I got the gas again.
We're going to switch over to the new stream.
Yes.
Please join us.
So, chill your tits, hold on, and wait. It's going to go blank. You'll get the notification. It'll pop right back up. If you don't see us in like 60 seconds, just keep refreshing. Keep mining for gold, y'all, or granite in this case. And then we will, here we go. We're going to sign off.